Eric Estep here. One of my favorite parts of being a NASCAR fan is collecting diecasts. It's how I got my start on YouTube, actually. To me, a room is not complete until it features shelves of NASCAR diecast cars. It's as good a time as ever to continue your collection or begin an all-new one by pre-ordering your favorite driver's 2022 next-gen diecast at lionelracing.com or at any authorized Lionel retailer. Lionel is the official diecast of NASCAR, and don't miss Lionel Racing's NASCAR Authentics diecasts at a Walmart or Target near you. Not only is Lionel the official diecast of NASCAR, but they're also official supporters of the Out of the Groove podcast network. So what are you waiting for? Head to lionelracing.com to order your favorite driver's 2022 diecast.
You're listening to Maiden Level Cross, presented by Pristine Auctions. I'm Thad Moffitt.
I'm Rowland George.
And we have a lot to cover because it's been a while since we talked to you guys.
Yeah, we got a banger of an episode.
We want to start the episode by saying R.I.P. Douglas Burkhart, longtime member of the Thad Moffitt fan club. We appreciate everything he brought to the fan club, and it's really sad to see him go. So we're praying for his family in this time and just hoping that everybody gets through it okay.
Yep. So this episode's dedicated to you, Doug. So thank you for the support, and thanks to everyone at the Thad Moffitt fan club, Jim Boyle and all those folks keeping us updated. But, dude, you're fresh back from Daytona. It's been, well, not fresh back, but it's been a couple weeks. What a couple weeks it was, though.
Yeah. Man, leading up to Daytona, I felt really, really good about it. You know, we had a solid test down there, and the Nitro group, just everything's going good. Like, everybody's gelling well. I get along with the team really good. Everybody inside of the organization gets along well. I got Will Rogers up on the roof spotting me, and he did Eric Jones, almost won the duel on Thursday night. So leading into it, it was good. Unfortunately, practice got rained out on Thursday, so they canceled qualifying, and we started 7th. But then in the lone practice session, we were the fastest car in Daytona. So that felt really good. It's been a while since I got to see the number 46 on top of the leaderboard. So big shot in the arm for me and the rest of the Nitro team getting to finish up practice and see the 46 atop the leaderboard was really cool. Got to go to the media center and talk to a lot of people after that. And my buddy Eric Estep was in there asking a bunch of questions. And, yeah, everybody was in there really fired up about this opportunity for me as much as I was fired up about it, you know. And so got a good night's rest on Friday night, woke up, went to Chick-fil-A. Got a breakfast burrito.
Nice.
Yeah, breakfast burrito, some yogurt.
Real quick, going back to practice, so because it wasn't televised, a lot of us were just, some of us had a racing app trying to see the times and all that. When did you go out in that group?
So that was like 15 minutes to go in practice, like right towards the end of practice. We went out, we did a single car run, and then we came back in. And it was the 20, the 55, the 25, and myself. It was just the 4 cars in the group. Mm-hmm. And we ended up being the 4 fastest cars in practice. And I was at the back of the group, so I ended up being the fastest car in practice, which was really nice to see the 46 atop the leaderboard, like I said. So
who tells you that? Does it come on the radio, or do you get out of the car and see? Like, how do you get the news first? Because that was really cool to see 46 on top of the pylon there.
Yeah, so we ran a couple of laps. The first lap, I think that we weren't the fastest group. The second lap at speed, we were P4, which I assume meant our teammates were 1, 2, 3, and then the third lap at speed, I crossed the start-finish line, and he said, P1, good job. And then we went up to the top, and that was like the end of the draft for us. Actually, we ran 4 laps, so it would have been the 4th lap at speed, which where we were the fastest. And, yeah, it was nice. My spotter first told me, and then pulling back in the garage, I was like, good job, guys. We got a good hot rod. Mm-hmm. I'm really looking forward to this race. And so, yeah, pulling back in, you see the pylon when you're driving down pit road. And I was like, heck yeah, man, that's awesome. You know, running down pit road at Daytona and the 46 is on top. That was pretty cool. But unfortunately, the rest of our weekend didn't go as great. So started 7th, and I felt like we found ourselves in a good spot. Unfortunately, our 3 teammates were on the outside row, 2nd through 6th. 2nd 4th and 6th. So I didn't get to line up behind them, which would have been really nice. But we didn't get as good as jump on the inside as the outside line did. A couple of the cars on the outside were able to clear the 18, who was the leader of our line, and get in line. And that's kind of when our line started to check up and kind of funnel back a little bit. And then I ran 2 more laps, and the 11 got loose. The 73 came down the track and hit us in the right rear, and I was along for the ride after that, man.
Yeah, just a little fender bender.
Yeah, no, that was one of the hardest hits I've had. Big props to all of my guys for building such a safe race car, and for ARCA for inspecting them and making sure they're safe. But yeah, I had no issues. Just a little sore the next couple of days, but nothing broke. No seat belts broke. No fireballs went off. Hans was fine. Everything was good. So yeah, it was really nice to have that safety and security, and to show it at Daytona, knowing that I'll be in a safe and fast car for the remainder of the year. So
it's a shame because there was a lot of, your whole Toyota had a lot of good cars out there. Lawless. I think Lawless had one of the best cars, if not the best car, with your car up there as well. And look, Butterbean ended up getting the checkers, and the rest is it.
Congratulations to him, but, man, we started right behind him, and just thinking if I could have stayed 1 foot closer to his bumper, that
could have rode his coattails to the finish.
Yeah, what could have happened, you know? Yeah, just unfortunate the way it played out for us, but that's part of the super speedway racing package that we have now. And, it's fun. I love the place. Daytona's awesome. I don't always love the racing, but I have left there and I've loved it. It just depends on how your weekend goes. So yeah, it was nice to be fast again and be on top of the board. But at the end of the day, it didn't work out for us. So we'll move forward to Phoenix and try to be top of the board there.
Did you feel more at home in a race car versus a race truck? Like, what was was that crossing your mind at all, or like tell us about the feeling? Was it different not being in a truck?
I think it was different not being in the truck. Man, I had fun in the trucks, but we just weren't as competitive. Mm-hmm. I think it was more just being back in something that was really, really fast is what made me feel good. If it would have been a different truck, maybe one of the Toyota trucks, like they are all really, really fast, for me to be in one of those trucks would have been nice. But just being back in a competitive ride where when I woke up, I knew we had a shot to win the race. Yep. Talking to everybody on my team, everybody was confident, especially after practice. We were like, man, we got a legit shot here to win this thing. We just got to do everything right. And sometimes even when you do everything right at Daytona, it just doesn't work out. We didn't put a wheel wrong all weekend and still ended up in the fence with the nose knocked off of it and the back knocked off of it and everything else. So it's just, like I said, it's just part of our package and how those cars race now. But it was nice to be back in the car and be in the Toyota, and part of the Toyota family was really cool, and how they approach races like that and race weekends and the meetings that we had leading into it, and just the conversations we had amongst organizations to make sure that we were all going to work together no matter what. And so the plan was to find my Toyota teammates during the race and try and make sure that one of the Toyotas won, and we didn't even make it far enough to let it play out.
Yeah. Hey, it was cool seeing Safety Clean on the car.
Yeah, that was their first Safety Clean race at Daytona where they were a primary.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that was neat to have them on the car, and longtime partner of ours. Just great to have them on board again this year. You'll see their car a couple other times, once on the road course at Lime Rock. I think the other one might be Kansas. Not positive, though.
It's good when your car stands out from the rest of the field, and I can say your car definitely, in the good times and the bad. They're getting ready for Phoenix. That's in a couple weeks here. What are you looking forward to? You got our buddies Pristine Auction coming on board for that race. What about Phoenix do you like so much? Because it is probably one of your best tracks.
Yeah, I love Phoenix, man. I love the atmosphere and the air out there and everything. The Phoenix racetrack itself is just so cool. The restarts give you so many options with that big dog leg and how you can cut down through the dog leg. And, it goes like almost 10 lanes, it feels like. When you hit the restart box, you'll see us fan out 5, 6, 7 wide at times and then funnel back down. But just Phoenix itself is such a driver's racetrack because it is like two totally different corners. Nobody's stuff ever drives good there. I mean, like, everybody will be the leader of the race will still be complaining about his car, and it just fits my style of racing. The way that you get down into turn one and you're on edge, you're sliding through the middle of the corner, especially late in the runs, and then you're trying to feather the gas up off, and then you get down to 3 and 4 where you have some banking and you can lean on the banking and you can go a little harder in through there and kind of mat the gas up off the corner and take the run down to the apron. That's always a fun feeling when you drive up to the wall and cut the dog leg going down the front stretch. So, yeah, I mean, I look forward to that place just because I feel like it fits the way that I drive these big, heavy stock cars. Yeah, it's just a fun racetrack. Provides a lot of options for the drivers and provides good racing, I think.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Cool. So we got Phoenix. What are you doing in the meantime? Like, totally different than last year. I mean, you are engaged every day
Yeah.
doing something. So fill us in post Daytona. What ends up happening? Tell us about your regime with Toyota. Like, you've been filling me in with some of the diets and exercise and everything they do prepare you guys for the track. Why don't you share a little bit of what your daily routine is now with Toyota?
Yeah, there's a lot that comes with being in a position like this in the Toyota camp and in good competitive rides, and I'm getting a little taste of what I've been racing against for the last handful of years, So they've definitely invested a lot into their drivers, and not only their race cars but their drivers. I've gotten on a meal plan. I've done daily training 5 days a week, multiple sim sessions for 3.5 hours. Just a lot of stuff that I've never really had access to. And so it's been really beneficial for me and my team. And we just work hard on hand-eye coordination and keeping the body core temp down inside the race car so you perform higher. And it's very all-inclusive deal that really, I feel like at the end of the day, will help me become a better race car driver because of the mental focus that I have, and the physical aspect of it obviously comes into play, especially during those summer races when it's so hot and everybody's dog tired at the end of the races, and you don't have much left in the tank, and this is what kind of gets you over the edge. So, yeah, just it's really cool to be on this side of the fence finally, where I have all the resources to help myself become the best possible driver that I can be.
And they're having you go-kart?
Yeah.
What the heck? That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. I went out there yesterday, and there's got to be something to it, man, because Kyle Larson was out there, Ross Chastain was out there, Ricky Stenhouse was out there. Last week it was Daniel Suarez. And
do you race against those guys?
They're Chevrolets.
Okay, so they don't intermix with you guys?
No, I race with the Toyota guys. They race with the Chevrolet guys. So we're out there on the track at the same time. But, yeah, we run just out at what's now Trackhouse Motorplex. Used to be GoPro. We have shifter carts, and we go out there to get ourselves kind of in shape physically and then just mentally focused and kind of just sharpen the skills of, they're shifter carts, so you're shifting every corner, you're hitting all your marks, you're running 80-plus miles an hour in a go-kart.
Jeez.
And, yeah, it's a lot of fun, man. It's helped me out. I've done it a handful of times now, and I feel like it helps me get back in the groove of racing when we do have these big breaks in our schedule. When you're in the race car every week, I'm not sure that it makes as big of a difference, but I think like the off-season stuff and the breaks in the schedule, it fills in the gaps when you can go race something and be competitive with your Toyota teammates and just keep the juices flowing and everything.
What's been, you're describing meal plans, diet, go-karting, and still early in the year. What's been your favorite experience so far, though, with Nitro and Toyota?
I would say it's tough to pick one, man. Being top of the board.
Okay.
And Daytona was probably the best one so far pertaining to racing. Outside of it, I would say my first sim session working with Shannon Rush and Nick Tucker, I felt like I gained so much from that one sim session alone, from knowledge on how to drive the race car and everything that they can look at and critique on me as a driver while they look at everything on the car and make changes. I think is just huge. It's just madly beneficial for me to have 3.5 hours of track time before I get to the track versus only the 20 minutes of practice that we have when we get there. So, yeah, I think that will help me tremendously get up to speed quicker and hopefully perform a little better this year.
Well, I've already seen a huge difference with just how practice at Daytona went, and I don't know, different Thad Moffitt, ladies and gentlemen, because we got a really good competitive ride this year. So big thanks to Nick Tucker, Nitro Motorsports, and Toyota. Definitely a huge, huge difference from last year. So shifting gears a little bit, NASCAR has been in a little bit of controversy as of late. I don't know if you're aware.
Yeah, I'm aware. NASCAR and Carson Hocevar, right?
Yeah, a little bit. We'll get to Carson in a sec. We'll obviously talk about our Daytona 500 winner, Mr. Willie B, back-to-back two-time. That's what's really spurring this controversy. If people are not aware, which they should be if they're listening to this podcast. So, NASCAR decides they're not going to throw the caution out on the last lap of the Great American Race, which historically they've done that. If there's a caution, if there's a wreck, there's a caution usually waived. But in this case, they didn't do that. And then fast forward to Atlanta, they probably take away one of the best finishes that we might have seen for the year. We still got plenty of races to decide on that. But what is your take? Is NASCAR to blame, or is it just circumstance?
I think it's just the inconsistency for me. Like, if a caution's a caution, like at the end of the day, if as a driver, if I'm sitting sideways in the middle of the track, I want you to throw the yellow flag because I don't want to get hit in the driver's side door by somebody running 180 miles an hour. So if you're going to throw the caution for Ryan Blaney when he never actually spun, like they threw the caution and then he finally spun after they had thrown the caution, but then not throw it on the last lap of the 500. It's like, it's just the inconsistency, I think. I think if you're going to call it, you're going to throw the caution, then throw the caution. But on the other hand, I'm like, on the last lap, if you do throw the caution, would they ever re-rack them? I'd like to see that, right? I'd like to see the race finish under green. I'm not a big fan of races finishing under yellow, but when they drive off into turn 3 at speed and the wreck is on entry to 3 or middle of the back stretch on, all those drivers should be slowed down from the time they hit the start-finish line to the middle of the back stretch to be able to safely get through too. Like, they're professionals. They're not Nimrods.
Yeah. And I guess the point of contention I see, and I agree with you, the consistency is definitely an issue. I've seen some stuff on social media about, heck, your grandpa won his last race, his historic 200th race, racing back on the caution with Cale Yarborough and ended up winning that race. And that was the rules back then. I fully agree. Sometimes I think the fans, and I'm not saying NASCAR isn't somewhat at fault, I think the fans are truly looking for entertainment, right?
Yeah.
You can't have it both ways. Having worked in the sport and working with you, the first thing I think of, driver safety, exactly what you said. If you're stuck in the middle of the straightaway, I want to caution out just for your safety. Second, I don't want crashed race cars. I know a lot of people like that, and they tune in to see racing for that, and that's a byproduct of it. I don't like that because that's money. A wrecked race car is money. I know Denny Hamlin fully agrees with that as he's a team owner. So with Atlanta, I would have loved, well, they did. I would have loved to see at Daytona caution and just keep it consistent. They said
that's what the problem is. Like, if you're going to throw it at Atlanta, you should have thrown it at Daytona.
Right, and they screwed themselves for the rest of the season because of that. But
since they didn't throw it at Daytona, then don't throw it at Atlanta. Whatever the call is that you're going to make, just make it consistently.
Yeah, yep.
That's the issue that I see. Like, if you're going to not throw it for one guy, but then you're going to throw it for the other guy, like, it's just not fair.
I fully agreed with what they did at Atlanta, though.
I think they made the right call.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And if it took away a great finish, then so be it. Josh Berry got he said that, I think he said 10G hit. Maybe it was more. It's like you said, the wind's knocked out of you, like you experienced at Daytona. You want somebody to throw a caution just for safety's sake. But a lot of fans were saying, "Oh, that's not how it was back in the day." Listen, I think it's better than it was back in the day. Cautions are needed, if it's a last lap or not, and if it ends up giving you a really crappy finish, then so be it. I mean,
yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah, the only thing that I would like to see, though, like if they're going to, I don't know how long, maybe they put a limit on it, like how many times they throw the green and white checkered before they just end under caution. But
yeah,
I would like to see the races attempt, even if it's just one attempt. If you're going to throw the caution on the last lap.
I think they did that years ago, though.
Yeah, they did. I don't know.
I was thinking it was like up to 3 attempts, and then it was unlimited.
I don't know why they got like away from that. Because I feel like if the race is ending under caution, then you kind of are taking
Because
away.
when enough people whine and moan and complain about things, and unfortunately, and it's probably an unpopular opinion amongst fans, well, I don't know if it is or not, but Denny Hamlin makes a lot of sense if you watch his or listen to his podcast. I think the sport is in a really different place than it was years ago. It's definitely shifted towards the entertainment value, and you got to look at it. Sponsors come to your sport for entertainment because of eyeballs. If your sport's not entertaining and there's no butts in the seat or no viewers, there's no sport. So it's a very interesting place in the sport's history. I think there's a fine line to walk where you can still have your good, solid, hardcore racing, but at the same time have it entertaining too. It's just different. It's like your grandpa says, it's just different now.
It is.
It's not comparing people, winners, champions. It's a totally different deal.
Yeah.
Cars are different, drivers are different, venues are different, tracks are different. I will say though, Atlanta's looking really good. I saw a picture up close what the surface looks like. It's like very well seasoned now.
Yeah.
So it should
I was
be really
talking
good.
to John Hunter Nemechek because he's one of the Toyota drivers that's at the facility where we work out every day, and he said the July race there will be slick.
Yeah.
He said it kind of, you didn't get to see it as much this time because it was like 40 degrees, 40, 50 degrees. There was a ton of grip in the racetrack. But he said when we go back in the summer and it's 100 degrees and the asphalt's hot, he said we'll be sliding around sideways, which is basically what they want, right?
Yeah.
Like you, I mean, you like that kind of racing. I like that kind of racing as a driver. I think it's entertaining. I think it's fun to drive race cars when they're not supposed to drive great.
Yep.
That's some of the most fun racing that we do. So, yeah, I think that track itself is getting to a point where it's going to become really, really racy again. And I like it too. I like what I'm seeing.
Definitely one of the best venues to watch right now. So it should be exciting.
We'll be right back. But first, a word from our sponsors.
Pristine Auction is the most trusted sports memorabilia and collectibles auction site. Auctions on pristineauction.com start at just $1. And each day, thousands of signed items are available. So you win signed, authentic items at affordable prices. Every item on pristineauction.com comes with a certificate of authenticity from the industry's most reputable authenticators.
PristineAuction.com is your one-stop shop for all authentic signed diecast, helmets, trading cards, photos, and so much more of your favorite driver.
Pristine's got so much cool stuff, man. It's so hard to pick out one thing. I mean, I'm between football and basketball. I mean, they got so many cool things. But I've got my eye on something pretty neat. It's Kevin Harvick's custom framed race-worn Mobil 1 fire suit from his last season. And I'm sadly getting outbid. It's way out of my price range, so a better man than me is going to be owning that. What you got?
I 100% agree. Pristine Auction has so many auction items every day, but I've got my eye on this Kyle Larson signed full-size Indy 500 helmet. That would just be so cool from his Indy 500 debut.
You know, I actually did try bidding on a 59 Daytona 500 ticket. They're a lot rarer than you think they are. I stopped bidding at like $25 because it went up to like $800. I was quickly outbid.
Upgrade your collection today and get $10 off your first win using registration code THAD. Again, that's registration code THAD for $10 off your first order. Links are in the show notes.
Oh my God, this is so good. What are you eating? Some tasty duck, Dad. What do you think?
Some of America's tastiest duck.
That's right. So for our friends at Joe Jurgowitz and Son, raising America's tastiest duck is the family business. As a fourth-generation family-owned company, Joe Jurgowitz and Son is proud to sponsor Thad Moffitt and the number 46 truck, and proud to offer our podcast listeners 20% off at tastyduck.com. So visit tastyduck.com to shop Joe Jurgowitz and Son's delicious range of whole ducks, duck parts, and more. At checkout, enter the code THAD in all caps for 20% off. Again, go to tastyduck.com, enter THAD to get America's tastiest duck delivered to your door for how much off, Thad?
20% off.
20% off, baby. Visit tastyduck.com and make sure you keep on quacking. Quack, quack. BASF Automotive Refinish Coatings offer a complete coating solution and have been improving this offering for over 150 years. In addition to providing solutions to collision centers around the globe, BASF also partners with the best builders in the industry, like Petty's Garage, to provide them with custom color solutions to make their visions a reality. Builders across the country give their creations the finishes they deserve with BASF award-winning coatings. For more information on BASF Automotive Refinish Coatings, visit their social media pages or basfrefinish.com. All right, let's jump into Carson. First of all, you know Carson personally?
I met him a couple times, yeah.
Okay. We got to get him on the podcast because I'm Team Carson Hocevar, man. I love this guy.
Yeah.
Some fans don't like him. A lot of drivers don't like him. What is your take on him?
I mean,
put yourself in his shoes. Would you be doing the same thing?
I would do the same thing. I was thinking that during the race. I was like, man, he's getting a lot of criticism right now, but like what I went through last year, if I had the opportunity to win the race, there's nobody that I wouldn't hit to get out of my way.
Yeah.
You know, there's no, like, same way. I mean, I know it's so hard to win these races, and I've been on the back end of it for the whole last year, and man, it feels like several years now. So if I could get in position to win those races again, like I was in 21 with David, I mean, I probably would made a couple different moves because just where the sport is today. I mean, you see it every weekend at the cup level. That's how they're winning races. So if you want to make it to the cup level, that's just the weird spot that our sport's in. You got to learn how to do that stuff, right? And Ross Chastain was the first one to come over and talk to Carson Hocevar, right?
That was ironic.
And I was like, man, that's almost hypocritical when like 4 years ago he was the one that everybody, or 3 years ago, he was the one that everybody was wanting to talk to after the race, which he's calmed down a bit and hasn't. I think Carson just needs that time as a driver to be put in those situations where he's up front on a weekly basis and he knows how to race those guys a little bit differently.
Let me ask you this as a competitor, because I find myself on both sides. I'm like, this side makes a good point, but on the other hand, the other side makes a good point. As a competitor, I think the biggest criticism that Carson draws is, of course, his aggressiveness. I'm hearing from a lot, especially Cup drivers, that guys your age and younger, they don't have the respect. Denny Hamlin, Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy John, and Harvick, they claim that these younger drivers, which you're in that generation, you guys do not know what respect is on the racetrack. Do you feel that way? Or do you, like you said, is it just different?
I feel like it's just different, man. I feel like you said, our sport's like in a weird place where they want the entertainment, and if you bring the entertainment, then you keep your ride, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Yep.
So if you're the guy that they're talking about, good or bad, after the week, you got to ride.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, because you're in the limelight. So it's like in such a weird place. I don't want to purposely wreck anybody. That's not like never my intention. But if you can bump somebody and like make it entertaining for the fans to watch and get yourself in a better position by bumping the car in front of you, I think our whole generation is kind of like that because of what they did at the cup level to bring it bring it down. I mean, in late models, they're moving guys. In ARCA, they're moving guys. In trucks, they're moving guys. It's every week.
Is there a hard line that you draw, though? You just said wrecking somebody, but if given the opportunity, you're at Phoenix, and you got, I'm not going to name names, but if you got driver X in front of you, and you have the opportunity, what are you going to do?
I don't think that I would ever intentionally tear up race cars because I've built them myself.
Mm-hmm.
I know how expensive they are. I know what it means to the team when they bring home a bag of bolts and then they got to go race next week. I would never intentionally wreck a race car. Would I move somebody? Absolutely. I would drive in, root them up off the bottom. I would run them up in turn one as far as I could. You know, like if we're side by side on the last lap going into turn 3 at Phoenix, that's going to be the latest I ever would turn in at Phoenix. I'm going to drive you straight for as long as I can and give you little to no racetrack to run with. But as far as just like driving way over my head and hitting them so hard that I know they're not going to have a chance, I don't think that's just not in me as a person.
Right.
And I don't think that's in me as a driver either.
Yeah, I see so many guys who are critical of Carson, and Carson has made mistakes. I mean, that infamous truck race, the championship truck race from a couple years ago, that was between him and Corey Heim, that was pretty blatant, just wrecking. I think that's followed him, but at the same time, I have 100% respect for him because of what you just said. To make it in this sport with the opportunity he has, he's got to make some controversial moves here and there.
Right.
If you're just going to sit back and be respectful, in quotation marks, I don't think you're going to have a long career in NASCAR.
It's so weird, man. It's like almost like to prove your worth in the sport, you have to make those moves. But then once you get to the point where you're like Kyle Busch or Denny Hamlin, and you're going to have a ride, you don't have to make them anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
I understand. I see that, but I could also counter you with, I can name a few drivers that I've never seen be that aggressive, and they're super successful, and they're the Kyle Larsons of the world. And
Kyle Larson just wrecked Austin Cindric at Atlanta intentionally. You can't tell me that. He had the whole racetrack. He had the whole racetrack and came over the radio after the fact.
I got to look at the footage again, but
yeah, he came over the radio after the fact and said, I'm sure that was my fault. Like, he knew what he did as soon as he did it.
I took that as sarcasm, though. As if, Austin's going to blame me for that. So what I'm saying, there are drivers. Now, the guys who are hypocrites sometimes are the Denny Hamlins or the Kevin Hart. I mean, I've seen them dish out plenty of deals, and then they go, I've never driven like that. And
no, I've seen them be super aggressive. Like Denny did it to Larson at Pocono a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Right?
Yep.
And like I've seen him be super aggressive, and that's the kind of thing I'm saying that I would do. But as far as like, what's a good example? At Martinsville, when Ty was in the Xfinity car and just drove in from 3 car lengths back and wrecked Brandon Jones.
Yep.
Like, no, I'm never going to do that.
But to Ty, I mean, he said point blank, I don't care who you are, like, I'm going for wins here.
Yeah.
And if it makes me unpopular, then so be it. And I'm telling you that the Intimidator was just like that. He'd give you the bumper, and that it's such a nuanced argument because you can say that about anybody. I really do think I'll probably answer my own question, but it really depends on what the situation is.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say what you would do. I have a feeling I know what you would do. You're a very clean driver and respectful driver, but given the opportunity to go to victory lane, what Austin Dillon did at Richmond last year was super controversial. And not to get into that, but I mean, Richard Childress saw nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all on the beholder, right?
Right.
Everyone else thought he was the worst thing, and all the RCR guys were like, that was a fair fight. So, Carson, come on the show. Let's talk. I got a ton of respect for you and appreciate what he's doing in the sport. So make that happen, Thad. Text him or send him a what do you call it? Send him a gram.
Instagram DM.
Send him on the DM list. Get Carson Hocevar on here. All right. Well, what else is going on? How's life?
Life's good, man. Getting married this year.
Oh, yeah.
Doing some wedding planning in the off season and doing some tastings here lately.
Have you figured the caterer out yet?
No, we're between 2 now.
Sounds like you've been like to 10. Is that?
Yeah, I feel like I did one every weekend for a while.
That's all I've been hearing you tell me. Oh, yeah.
Well, it's because, like, dude, it's almost like racing. It's ridiculously expensive to get married. Like,
yes, it is.
And the more people that come to your wedding, the more expensive it is for you to get married. And so every caterer we went to, we were like, man, that food's really good. And then they'd send us the, like, itemized bill or invoice or whatever you call
estimate,
it.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I'm not eating that in my wedding. It's like, I don't care how much I love the people there. It's not worth $20,000 to feed them. So, yeah, it's been quite the process to get this done. But, yeah, it's on top of the race and stuff. Outside of that, a lot of my focus has really kind of been on setting up the wedding and figuring out that we got to do there. Getting married at my grandpa's house will be really cool, like a lot of my family members have done in the past. And so, yeah, it's a big year for me. Hopefully it's coupled along with a handful of wins in the ARCA series and hopefully a championship at the end of this deal.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
All right. I forgot to ask you this preseason. Where are you going to win first?
Phoenix this
All right.
weekend. I would have said Daytona preseason.
You heard it first, folks.
Yeah.
Phoenix.
Yeah. That's my crew chief. And my crew chief and me had a conversation, Shannon Rush, and he said, dude, we're going to go in there, and it's our trophy to lose. He said, if we don't go home with a trophy, then you did something wrong or I did something wrong. And I was like, man, that's a good attitude to have. Let's go get us a bunch of trophies this year. So,
wiser words have not been said, so
yeah.
That's awesome. Well, great. Phoenix, good luck with your catering, with your wedding. I'm looking forward to seeing what you got on the menu there. Sounds like there'll be Vienna sausages and goldfish crackers.
Yeah. What's wrong with that, though?
Nothing, man. I'm down with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a day of celebration of the love.
Heck yeah.
I mean,
Goldfish and Vienna sausages. Some other exciting news. I've seen so many people posting their Darlington diecast.
yeah.
We weren't lying, folks. They do exist.
So I went to Circle B diecast and signed like 500
Wow.
diecasts that day, man.
Jeez.
But yeah, glad that everybody finally got their diecast so they can quit thinking that me and Rowland are liars.
I know.
And quit coming at me in the comments about how this is not a real thing. I never
a
got
scam.
mine. Yeah, it was
Fake
not a
news.
scam. It just took a long time for it to get there. So glad everybody's got their Darlington diecast now, or for the most part, hopefully. And look forward to signing the ones that I haven't already signed. Bring them out to the racetrack, whichever racetrack is nearest to you, or autograph session that we do near you. Bring it out. I want to see them. I want to sign them.
Yep.
This is the coolest, it's probably number one on the coolest paint scheme trucks I've ever ran.
Oh,
it
yeah.
definitely is for me. Everything about it was cool. The fact that we ran good, the fact that I had a cool fire suit, the fact that the truck looked the best in the field. It was just a cool weekend.
Do you know, apparently, I don't know if this is 100% true, but I know my diecast, with the exception of Ross's Raced Win that's being released, I think yours is the only truck diecast with a throwback scheme that's being released from last year.
That is awesome.
How about that?
I did not know that.
I was shocked because I really thought Tyler Ankram's, he had that Days of Thunder deal.
Yeah, that one looked good.
That was pretty fresh. And
Daniel Dies, the Kyle Petty.
Daniel
remake
Dives was good.
was cool.
I like Jack Woods.
Yeah,
He
Jack
had
Woods
Tim
was good.
Flock thing with Jocko Flacco monkey inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, so happy everyone got theirs. My brother bought 3, dude.
Why?
I don't know. He said, well, I do know. I'm saying, like, I don't know why he would have done that, but he bought one for himself and then his 2 kids.
Oh.
I don't know why you need 3 Thad Moffitt trucks, but
Everybody needs 3.
everyone.
Everybody needs 3. 3 per person.
So, golly. I was like, that's excessive, man. But glad everyone got them. They look great. So thanks everyone at AE Engine for helping out with that project, and Circle B Diecast. Glad to see they were all sent out. You know, it's funny. Jerry's our parts manager at the garage. Jerry said to me the other day that he realized he bought an autograph package, and he's looking back saying, why did I do that when I see Thad most days in the garage? So I thought that was pretty funny. Well, what else you got, my man? Anything else to share?
You got any parting words of wisdom?
Dang it. He got me this time. Parting words of wisdom. Well, don't count your chickens before they hatch. That's what I'd say.
Mine would be never leave the toilet paper roll empty, or the person after you will have a crappy day.
But oh, man. That's a good one there.
Well, we appreciate you guys listening. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow on your favorite streaming platform, and follow me on social media at ThadMoffat46.